Good day, eh? I'm going to run through CelticPipes 3.0 from start to finish for a fairly large file, but it should cover a whole bunch of other different things. This is your initial opening screen, or mine anyway. I can go up here to File and New, or if I just go to the blank page, that's New, and let's start the whole process. With that information entered, we have some choices now for paper size. In North America, we use letter size, so that's what I'm going to stick with. 4 measures per line, that's a good start. We can always add some more. I hit Next. Highland Bagpipe is my instrument of choice, but there are others. Next. 4/4 is the time signature that I'm going to use. I'm not going to abbreviate like you can with common and cut common. I'm just going to leave that as 4/4. And here is our opening page. Now that we've got our opening page, we just need to add notes. We get the notes from the palette or menu on the right. I click on one of these. I've just selected a quarter note, and I'm placing it here as a D. And the next note that I'm going to place here is an E. And it hasn't placed it exactly where I wanted, and that's a function of this, the note spacing method. I'm going to right-click on this and change it from even to manual. And this will allow me now to place the notes where I want them to be. Now I've also made this one a quarter note. I want to make it an eighth, so I go over to the right, I divide it by 2, and now it's an eighth note. Assuming that I'm happy with these first notes, I can highlight them, click, and it automatically puts them where they need to be. I can also do a copy, so a bar copy, and I've basically copied these 5 notes and I'm placing them in the next spot. And the reason this can be handy is a lot of these musical phrases are very similar from bar to bar, from line to line. So in this case, I can take this D and turn it into a high G by carrying it or dragging it up, and then the next note I can make an F the same way, and the following note I'm going to make that an E, but I'm going to do that by using the down button. So the down arrow has moved that to where it needs to be. So I'm going to keep playing with these. I'll fill in the entire line. You'll see that the lines are red, and the lines are red because the numbers don't add up. There should be 4 quarter notes or equivalent, and this little guy up here, the note checker, note value checker, is telling me that something is not quite right. It doesn't tell me what it is that's not quite right, but something has to be fixed. And in this case, if I add an 8th note here, the bars have stopped being red. I don't know whether they're blue or black, but they do add up correctly. Now, I need to add something in here between these 2 low A's because it's not a single note, it's 2 separate notes. So I grab a grace note and I place it here. I could place it as a D or an E or whatever, but that's the grace note. And then the final note that I'm going to add here is a whole note, and I want to tie the whole note to this guy. So using my escape button, I've got my cursor back to where I want it to be, as a pointer as opposed to an X, and then I can tie these 2 notes together. I want to now play this phrase to see how it goes, and to do so I go to the middle pane, and that brings up my playback function. Down at the bottom you'll see that I have a Highland Bagpipe. It actually says Highland Bagpipe, but when I click on this it goes to practice chanter, and that can be very useful if you have a threaded reed seat in your practice chanter and you can screw the reed in or out and actually tune it to play alongside the notes that this produces. Right now it's playing at 100 beats per minute at quarter notes. If I want to make those faster or slower, I can adjust by moving the little blue circle. And if I find I'm not quite accurate enough, I just use the arrows on my keyboard until it hits 100. Done. Another feature, thought, is if I play these 2 guys, it's only going to play these, basically 5 quarter notes. Whereas if I start over here, it will play everything until there are no notes left. So let's give this a sound. And obviously I have some work to do on this. Now, having adjusted the lines and the notes to how I want it to sound, I'm going to do a complete line copy and line paste. And this is my first phrase to be played by the solo piper. I'm now going to demonstrate how a second piper can put harmony and in fact chords and things together. So to do that, I go to Edit, Score, Properties, Add, Highland Bagpipe, OK. So now I've got two lines of pipers, except there's nothing here. So I can do a line copy, as you've seen going down to the second line, or if I right click in here, I can do a bar copy and bar paste. Just click anywhere within the bar, bar copy, bar paste. And if you accidentally hit the wrong paste, you might end up with more notes, but just think of it as bar for bar, line for line. All right, I'm going to just tidy these guys up. What goes well with a D for delta? Well, an F would work, a B would work, a low A would work. So I can drag it down to low A, and I can use my little buttons and bring this guy down 2 notes, and down 2 notes, and down 2 notes. So let's just give that a play to give you an idea what the sound is going to be like. I have decided that I don't want to have a second piper. I'm going to make the second line a bass drum. So back to Edit, Score Properties, and here where it says Highland Bagpipe, I click on that and bring it down to bass drum. Hit OK, and now I've got the same notes on there, the same beatings if you want to call it, but with drumming everything above the line is right and below the line is left. So the bass drum will play these, but we're going to change the whole score up. So highlight the whole thing, hit delete, and they've gone away. In my case now, I'm going to put a single quarter note right hand here, and then I'm going to add some rests. And there's a bit of math going on in this game to make sure that the numbers all add up. I don't know why, but the first bar of the line doesn't work with the note checker. But if I copy it, so I could do a bar copy or just a copy and paste it. And like everything, there's more than one way to skin a cat. The note checker is telling me that that's right. If I only copied 2 of these guys over and paste them in here, the line is red because the numbers don't add up. Again, it doesn't tell you what's wrong, it just doesn't let you carry on any further until you fix this. So I'm just going to copy this guy, paste him in here, and now everything works. And the nice thing about the bass drummer is you can just copy and paste to your heart's delight. I'm going to add 4. So right, left, and the colors have changed. All is good. The next step that I'm going to take is to change the tempo. So I click over here on the structures area. I've got my little plus cursor. I put it in there. I want this to be 2/4. I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to keep it at 100 beats per minute. OK. And the lines have changed color, and the lines have changed color because the numbers don't add up. So I need to make this a little bit smaller. So I divide by 2, and it's now 2 quarter notes. In this case, I'm going to give this guy a break, so he's going to have a rest. And that's that. So this is our sound so far. I highlight my first note, but realistically, if nothing else is highlit or lit up, it will start at the beginning and play until there are no notes left. I've decided to change my mind and add another piper. If my wife can change her mind, I can change my mind too. So back to score properties, Highland Bagpipe, bass drum. I'm going to add one. I want a Highland bagpiper, but I would rather have this Highland bagpiper in position number 2 instead of in position number 3. So I've just changed them by using one of these arrows to adjust who plays where. Hit OK. So now I have a piper, I have another piper, and a bass drummer. But I need to add rests for this guy, or these guys, because this could be the remainder of your band. With that now done, I'm going into the second part. So I just slide the bar down, or I could slide my wheel, my mouse. I'm going to add another line, and I do that by clicking here. Oh, nothing happened. That's because I need to go to page 2. It's already here. Because we got 3 rows of instruments, it fills a page pretty quickly. So the line was already there. Now that I'm in my second part, I actually want to add another bar to this to make it 5 bars across. I do that by going to the right side, add bar, and now it's 5. What I want to do now is have the rest of the band join in with the solo piper. The solo piper is playing the low A and holding the note while the rest join in. I'm going to do a line copy and line paste, but I'm now going to get rid of this because the rest of the pipers are going to be getting their drones going to join in. So I just need to put a rest in there for this part, and our bass drummer needs to kick in some notes to get everybody else started, and I'm going to do 4 quarter notes but getting louder as we go. With our 4 notes in place, I want to build up the sound, and we go over to the menu on the right in the dynamics and articulations, and the Italian words will stand out and speak for themselves as you hover over them. I have now changed the tempo back to 4/4 at 110. So the time signature is 4/4, 110 beats per minute. This is my low A being played by my solo piper. As everybody else gets their drones up and going, the bass drummer plays up, and then the bass drummer is going to stick with this for the rest of the game. And I'm going to just do a bar copy and bar paste. The other alternative is to copy, and then when you click on this line, you see it's gone blue. Control V is paste. So it's gone blue. Control V, and then back up to my magic spacer evener button, and everything is hopefully in place. I'm going to give you a feel for how this sounds now. I go to the first line I want it to play, and it will go until it reaches the end. Our next part is going to have the lead or main piper differing, quite different in fact, from the rest of the band. So I'm going to make this next one a repeating part simply by adding this. I'll paste the stuff in and explain it to you. So what you just heard is not quite the same as having a harmony, but it certainly accentuates the tune. I'm going to do a variation of that in the next line. But before I go to the next line, if you look down at the bottom, it says written with Celtic Pipes. That's back into the tools, titles, and footer. And that's standard for any brand new file. In my case, I've got something else written here, which I'm pasting into place. I hit OK, and it set itself. Now, I had to do it in 3 different lines using the Enter key, otherwise it would have extended all the way out to the left side. It's up to you exactly what you want. I've seen some people putting their band name and then underneath that version 1, version 2, whatever works for you. But remember, you've still got page 2 of 3 in there, and you can fill up with way too much stuff if you're not careful. All right, I'm going to bar and line copy across here. Line copy, go to the next line. line paste, and back to Bob the bass drummer, because it's all about making it easy and copying as much as you can. So here's Bob the bass drummer's entire repertoire. So line copy, line paste, and it's going to be a repeater too, so I simply add the appropriate lines and things, use my little magic evener outer, and here we go. I'm going to add a few more lines. I've added 3. They'll be on the next page if they're not apparent to us right now. In this part, I'm simply going to put chords. So whole notes, I'll go with a B, D, B, A. And I'm just going to play this through so you get a feel for how these notes are matched by these single notes. I have finished the chording, ending up with a C to match the E. If we had more pipers, we could do more. That's an idea. Alright, I'm going to just do one more change now at the end. And this is going to be my solo piper doing a 4/4 reprise. I'm going to hide it, 100 beats per minute. Okay. And while my solo player plays here, the remainder of the band will have a rest. I've added my reprise. I've got the whole band playing here to the crescendo, and I want to make this a 6/4 just so that it lasts a little long. So I'm going to change this to 6/4, 6 quarter notes. I don't want to hide it, I want it to be pretty obvious. It's still at 110 because that's what everybody else is playing. Using my magic button up here, everything lines up. But this should actually be dotted because this is 6 quarter notes. Same with this guy. And these guys I'm going to adjust because I'm going to get them building up the volume. These guys, Bob the bass drummer. So it's going to be 6 quarter notes building up to one big loud thwack at the very end, and then the solo piper will continue. With Bob the bass drummer's business all figured out, I'm just going to put a little bit of text in here. I do that by going up to this button, and you'll notice that I've got little areas in which to write my text. So I'm left clicking here, and here's the annotation. And it's up to me to put what I want to put in here. I think I'm going to put reprise, and then on the earlier page put drones, just to let everybody see what's going and when. I've typed the word reprise in. If I go to the font, I have choices of whatever font I want, style, and then the size. I've added my word for drones in here. You'll notice that everybody else is resting at the moment. I can drag this word drones to where I want it to sit. I'm just going to set it here for now. Okay, I think I've got a little bit of tidying up to do, and maybe another couple of pipers to add, because it always sounds better with more pipes. Everything sounds better with pipes. And here is our finished product. Before I hit play, or maybe just after I hit play, I'm going to get rid of the right screen. In fact, I'll do that now. And then I'll get rid of the playback shortly. In case you hadn't noticed it, our soloist is the top line, and Bob the bass drummer is the bottom line. Okay, I'm going to hit play. It's going to play at 100 beats per minute for the intro and the outro, and then the remainder of the band will be playing at 115. So here goes. And there you have it.